He's referred to as Myanmar's new hope in the UFC. But can Joshua Van fill the shoes of legend Aung La Nsang? Let's break down his journey and potential. From refugee roots to UFC rankings, and carrying his country's flag, Joshua Van is chasing history. But does he have what it takes to become Myanmar's next MMA icon? Joshua Van was born in Hakha, Myanmar, and moved to Houston at age 12. He now holds dual Myanmar-US citizenship and is the first Burmese-born fighter signed by the UFC, currently ranked in the flyweight division. His family fled Myanmar's junta violence and lived as refugees in Malaysia before settling in Texas. He overcame bullying and culture shock, using MMA to fight back and fuel his dream. Joshua's passion to represent Myanmar hit a surprising roadblock. UFC commissions didn't initially allow his flag. He had to prove Myanmar was even a real country before finally walking out at UFC 313 with the flag proudly displayed. In just under 2 years, he's racked up a 14-2 record with 7 KOs and 2 subs, earning unanimous decision wins at UFC 295, UFC 310, and UFC 316. Notably, he set the highest significant strikes per minute rate in UFC flyweight history. One's legend Aung La Nsang, Myanmar's first mainstream MMA icon, has publicly supported Van. Joshua's emergence is inspiring a wave of interest in MMA among Burmese fans. Joshua Van's story of refugee beginnings, UFC milestones, and cultural pride makes him a prime candidate to be Myanmar's next MMA superstar. He still needs a marquee win, but the foundation is strong. What do you think? Can Joshua Van carry the torch for Myanmar after Aung La Nsang? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Inside the Cage stories.